easy. I hope you're well. So, I've had some discussions with a couple of you. Um, and I've taken it in. So, here's what I'm willing to do. I know I cannot change over all of my content overnight. I know it's going to take some transitioning time. I'm aware. Um, so for the time being, what I'm willing to do is I will do um once a week where I will update my core group of people that have been around for a long time. Because they come here to hear me um give my take on things, and it's fair. Some people in the community don't really do paranormal. It's not really their thing or whatever. And I get it. I get it. Because my base subscribers uh, tuned in to me when I was covering um, Lisa Richard and various other people. But what I am going to do is maybe change the way I do it, and what I cover and don't. Um, because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun, informative. Um, I guess over the last, I don't know, couple months, I've kind of been lax in putting out very much, and I've taken some downtime to really consider some things. And in the past, or at some points during my duration on this platform, I have been harsh at times. Um, Honest, but harsh. Brutally honest, I think, is a word you could use for it. But I didn't need to be that harsh sometimes. Um, Usually, when that happened, it was because it hit a nerve. Um, Unfortunately, due to my own raising, and I may have taken that out on the people resembling the behaviors that I grew up with. Um, and that's on me. Um, I may not have been as harsh had I not had those experiences. But what I can do is be mindful going forward about that. And I'm in a good place. And I guess, let a lot of shit go. But I don't know. I guess maybe once a week I will update you all on the bullshit going on in various places, which is, it is what it is. It's bullshit. But a lot of y'all watch it, so there's that. Um, I'm really irritated um, with this whole Lori situation because I've watched that unfold and I saw where I'm trying to think. I think it was Supernatural Crimes with somebody. I think it's Nikki or something like that. Um, where she goes back and shows where Lori was supposedly pregnant with her cousin's kids. Which I don't know why that would be a flex, but ooh. Um, and then there's this boss lady doxing the shit out of people and then claiming she didn't because she dirty deleted the video. Odd. Um, just because you dirty delete it doesn't mean you didn't do it, though, boss lady. Um, but anyway, I intend to give weekly updates on those two, and that's about it. And I only intend on doing that much for another maybe a month or so until people get used to me not really so much covering idiots on the internet. Kind of like a transition instead of just altogether not transitioning and just cutting it off at a stem. I'll give people some time to transition from one to the other, and that's fine. But like I said, um, just as a heads up, I'm only gonna do that for about a month while people kind of acclimate to me changing over on content stuff. And that will likely be done probably on a Friday where I've got nothing really going on paranormal wise. I've already done what I kind of wanted to do for that week. And some weeks I may or may not even do the one once a week update. I don't know yet. But I've had some discussions behind the scenes and they're like, well, maybe just do one update a week and then the rest of the time do your paranormal stuff. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. So, compromise. So, this week has been full of buffoonery and nonsense. Um, Raggedy T did a update and allegations upload. It was 8 minutes 17 seconds. I would prefer you go to her channel and view that. Give her the view. Give her the watch time. Because Raggedy T deserves it. Um, I don't agree with what's been done to Raggedy T. But I am just one person um, in a sea of people. So my opinion matters for naught, except for those few people that it does matter to. So we're going to start with whatever the hell this is. Um, you'll see why I don't really have a name for it. All I can say is really. Um, hey Lori. Um, ma'am, what the hell have you done to your face? It looks like you took some lipstick. I don't have any words for this. Like, ma'am, are you aware um that you're grown and like an adult, like a whole ass adult? You're like 50 years old. I'm rarely ever speechless. And the reason I had a little bit of a speechless problem at the beginning of this is because I was looking at this. And I'm very much confused. This is on Kaya's channel. Um, she's an archive channel. I recommend you go to Kaya's channel. Watch this week's um nonsense. But so far, we have this. What this is, don't ask me. I don't know. I am very confused. Hey, Paula. Easy straight. It does. It really does. That's such fucked up. Why you gotta do her like that, man? It does. That's fucked up.
You should take care of being tattooed. My daughter did my makeup. She wanted me ready for TikTok. And she gave me a tattoo. It cost me over $1 million. Well, if that's what you think that, buddy.
Ma'am, your daughter did not do that to your face. I can guarantee you your daughter can do makeup better than that. If your daughter did in fact do that to your face, that just proves what we already know. Your daughter hates your guts if she did that to your face. Your daughter is telling you you're a clown and that she hates you if she in fact did your face. Read between the lines, ma'am. Yeah. Ever notice how she's always super hyper and cracked out when her daughter's there? Because she takes her Addies. Allegedly conspiracy. She's already admitted it. Whatever. And she doesn't think that people have figured that out. But she forgot that, it slipped. I would probably remember admitting something like that, but then again.
Anyway, I'm showing my people what my technician did. She gave me a tattoo, and it's called It's like a Japanese type, And then this cost a little over $1 million.
Ma'am, do you lie about everything or just most things? You can tell by the way that is done, you did that in a mirror. You can also tell that you did your own face in the mirror by the way that's written on your forehead. Which is sad that you have to pretend that your kid did that to your face for attention. When it's very clear you did that to your own face for attention.
And then she put haters, but she could have put the art again down some because I don't know what's happening there. But anyway, so I was on TikTok or Facebook. What's up, E?
No, what happened was you were looking in the mirror and it's really hard to draw or write words on your own face. You know how I can tell? Because a couple of those letters are backwards. Some of them are, some of them aren't. That's very clearly written because it's off center, like it would be if you were drawing on your own face. It's just really why? Why do you need to pretend that she was the one who did that to your face? I don't get it.
Sissy did my makeup, baby. She said, Mommy, I'm getting ready for TikTok. Michelle watched the whole process. Oh, girl, all day.
Ma'am, for one, you have teenagers. That looks like a 5-year-old got a hold of your face. There's no way a teenager did that for makeup. Both of your kids are more mature than you are. And it's pathetic that you have to come on this platform and pretend that your kids are drawing on your face for attention. And because you've been called out for being a piece of shit. You got called out for faking pregnancies and faking infant unalivings. You got called out over the custody shit. Somebody called you out and said that that wasn't actually the custody papers for this time. That was actually the custody papers from where you were in Florida. Ma'am, do you realize how much trouble you're actually in with the courts? Yeah, I've seen some of the documentations and reports that have been posted. Shame on you. It's ugh. Ew. Is all I can say. I'm gonna get my fruit.
But anyway, so yeah, like this lady and gave me a little tip. She charged me over $1 million. Her own mother charged over $1 million.
I mean, to be fair, I would charge you $1 million to get that close to your face. Like, if you asked me to get that close to your face, I would definitely charge you over $1 million.
Oh, mother. Shit. Yeah. She wouldn't even give me a discount. No. The taxi hurt. I was crying through the whole thing.
I wouldn't give you a discount either. Why should she give you a discount? You're an asshole.
It hurt my pocket. It hurt my pocket quite a bit. Yeah, it did. Yes, there is a God. There is a God. Absolutely, amen. And God sees the money I just forked out for all this. Me too. Been a beautiful day, playing in snow, snowball fight. We got friends coming over. Well, maybe. But anyway.
Quit lying. That whole statement was a lie. You said, we've got friends coming over. Girl, you know you ain't got no friends. You mean your drug dealer? Who's entirely too acquainted with your children, by the way.
So they had we went, to the next town over together with a case worker. We didn't have a pretty good day, baby. But then what happened? She says, "Oh, it did snow. It's melting. It's pretty nice today. It is melting, so there's a little bit out there." Me too. But now I gotta, Gina. This cost over $1 million. I went to my boutique, which is my own daughter. She charged me over $1 million. She just like, what the hell? She gave me a tattoo and she did my makeup, and then she put haters. And she charged me over $1 million. Gina, over $1 million. Like,
2 words. Dry begging. It's a thing. Stop it. Like, seriously. Woo! My local grocery store does this thing where it's kind of like a fruit cup in a sense, but it's got like whipped cream and cookies, like cookies and cream. Basically, it's got Oreos and whipped cream and strawberries and blueberries. And I'm here to tell you that it's delicious. It's a lot better than drugs. Lori, you should try it. Just saying.
Yeah, give me an inch of a discount. No discount. We were live on Facebook. Michelle was watching. But she charged me. I'm her mom. She didn't give me a senior citizen discount. Nothing. Oh, shit. Come here. Look, I'm under respect. Oh, yeah. This is sad. Are you guys not liking the makeover? I mean, this costs some pretty money. Make sure your husband doesn't see this, or your wife, because it's not my fault. It's not my fault, you guys, I promise. I promise it's not my fault. I just thought I would look at it for you guys. You know, you guys are always bitching about something about me, so I figured, get an extreme makeover. And it cost me a pretty penny. Why weren't you on Facebook? You should have been on Facebook. Michelle's in it. Michelle's in it. Yeah, we were watching SpongeBob and she was doing my makeup. We're still watching it. So, yeah. This This is, and then the tattoo, she, threw a little tippy tip in there. So this tattoo represents.
I mean, it is an improvement. But Laura, you ain't gave that kid no money. If you can't even spare enough money on your food stamps you only get because of her to buy her a decent meal, you sure as fuck ain't handing her no money. And she didn't do that to your face. You did that to your face for attention. I'm just saying.
You're good, baby. This tattoo represents. I'm proud to be an American. Excuse me, you're telling me to stop after you just charged me over $1 million?
Did you just tell her to grow up? Did I just hear her daughter in the background saying the words, grow up? If I did, that's pretty funny, but also sad that your teenage child is more mature than you. Whew, that's embarrassing. Like, did anyone else hear that? Like, because I could have sworn she just said grow up.
Can I get some of my $1 million back? No. Well, too bad. This took all day, you guys. All day. From 9 o'clock in the morning to just about when I got on. The tattoo. It's about 3 hours and a half. The face of that was approximately 20 hours. So, and now here I am, you guys. How you doing? I missed you guys. Yeah, I know. You guys are like, damn, we're looking good these days. I know. It's the platform of the resources of my daughter literally charged me over $1 million, and I'm still blending in all the spots, Like, nobody likes my makeup, I guess. That's pretty neat, you guys. Because if you're a child, when I'm done your makeover, I would like it. I would. But you guys don't like it. Right? We're gonna talk. I mean, I'm not scared.
Well, first things first, she clearly didn't do your makeup. You did. Secondly, I'm not showing it unless you sneak her on camera. But Lori, with the people you have following you, you really don't need to have that child on camera. You don't. You being one of them, I can't really do nothing about you, but there are some serious whack jobs on this platform. Like, serious whack jobs. like need to be in an institution somewhere kind of whack jobs. You really need to be careful. I'm not telling you what to do with your kid, ma'am. All I'm saying is there are some really deranged motherfuckers on this platform. Like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Not that you are not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Because you are. But, I mean, come on. You've got her on here with her whole ass face and shit. I'm still trying to get over your face. Jesus Christ. Like, every time I look at my screen, it's a jump scare.
I mean, yeah, I'm never scared. But I will go out there. I will. You know, my baby did it. My baby did it, even though she hurt my pocket. I even had to go next door and ask my doctor. You know, good thing I caught her in time. It was lunchtime, and I said, "Hey, I need to borrow half a mil." I only got a half a mil. I need another half. And so she said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I need an extreme makeover because TikTok is getting tired of seeing Lori, so let me get an extreme makeover." So my daughter charges me over $1 million.
How many times are you going to tell the same joke? It wasn't funny the first 5,000 times you told it. Repeating it isn't going to make it funnier. I feel like some of you people, not just Lori, need to stop repeating the same shit over and over and over because you think you've said something funny when nobody laughed the first time. Because it doesn't get funnier the more you tell it. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm about bored with her. This weekly recap thing probably isn't going to be like super in depth. It's probably just going to be, this is fucking ridiculous. Look at this. This is your update. Have a nice day. That's probably going to be more along the lines of what it is. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. All right. This is insane to me. Before she slaps the papers down, I'm just going to tell you that these are from Florida. And there's a reason she's hiding the top half of the page, because if she shows you the top half of the page, it'll show that this paperwork is from Florida, not where she is now. But she's trying to pass it off as these are current paperworks. It's not. Ma'am.
I'm going to watch all the Conjuring movies and Annabelle and every single one that has to do with Edward Moore. But EVP. an idiot. Listen to her mouth.
What's that saying? There are 2 children born to this inheritance, blah, blah, blah. The titular giant soul was bam, 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 what's that fucking
Bam! 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 Those are from like 2010 or some shit, dude. That paper is so old, it's yellow, ma'am. Bam! 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 Those are old custody paperwork. That's not really custody paperwork. That's like where you filled out for some kind of assistance. That's not custody papers. Lori. Bam! 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 The fuck is... You are really, really jacked up on them addies today, aren't you?
say? What's that say, baby?
Show the date, you fucking liar.
Go ahead, you know you want to screenshot that shit. Go ahead. Go ahead, motherfucker. Do it. Do it.
You walking around like you actually did something. Bitch, you look like a whole ass fool. Bam! 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 You have shown absolutely nothing. Those papers came from Florida. Had nothing to do with your current bullshittery. You just got called out for faking your pregnancy with the twins to trap your cousin, and you can't comment on that though. But you can pull out some old ass paperwork from several years ago that have nothing to do with what's going on currently, and use that as a some kind of flex. Wow.
People in her chat were calling her out, telling her it was old. It is old. Has nothing to do with what's going on right now. You know what you did. You know what you've done, and you know how much shit you're in. Anyways, keep lying.
So anyway, so
You ugly fucker.
nothing. Obviously, I passed every drug screen that's been fucking asked.
Yeah, you told.
Are they doing blood tests to see that you're not abusing your drugs, Lori? And if they're doing drug screenings, they are really shitty at their jobs. And you are not passing them. Guaranteed. Unless you're prescribed Addies and you just eat all yours and your daughter's too. Just because you get prescribed something doesn't mean you can eat both your prescription and someone else's prescription and still have to buy them from you little drug dealer you had come to the house the other day. That's still very much addiction. You're fucked up right now. Like, you are higher than a fucking kite in this video. You are tweaking like a mofo. And it is blatantly obvious.
Well, everyone, you didn't pass because you smoked the garden. So which one is it, liar? Damn, your name should be Liar instead of Lori.
You know I do not refuse any my motherfucking home. Period. I will never motherfucking refuse all. Not perfect, mom. Not perfect, mom.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Make your ass fall off. Ass fall off. I'm sorry, Lori, but if I were your ass, I would definitely try and fall off myself. So I really can't blame your ass for trying to fall off. But all jokes aside, Lori, I could be ruthless. I could be a bitch. I could be all those things. It'd be justified in really cracking down on you. But I won't. No. Maybe I'm getting old. Or maybe I just don't have it in me anymore. So what I will do, and you probably won't take it. You probably will disregard this completely, and that's fine. That's your choice. Completely up to you. But I am in a place of healing and trying to spread healing instead of just being a dick. Because I can be. Trust me. I can be the biggest asshole you ever met. My words can cut deep. But I'm going to choose a different method, a different path here. Hey, Dark. And I'm going to choose mercy. Ma'am, I don't know your life story. I don't really want to. But you've clearly got some shit going on there. Like, some deep, deep shit going on there. You can tell by how needy you are for attention and how desperate you are for people to pay attention to you. Something had to have happened to make you that way. And people don't just turn out the way that you have turned out for no reason. While I don't believe anything you say at all, I do believe you've had some issues in life that have caused you to be the person you are today. And all I can tell you is you think you come off as funny and quirky and fun. You come off extremely immature. Pick me kind of bitch. You come off as attention seeking, like in a very pathetic, desperate kind of way. And you think that your behavior is cute. It isn't at your age. You think it's cute for you to come on here and dance the way that you do. And it isn't cute. It's stomach turning. It's nauseating, quite frankly. Not cute. Hey, Dark. The only thing I can tell you, and I'm all about constructive criticism here, the only thing I can tell you is I believe that if you took a step back just for a minute and watched some of your videos where you were geeking out, you would see very clearly that you are not sober at all. Everyone around you also can see that you are not sober at all. So maybe work on that and work on not being such a vile, disgusting human being. Work on yourself. You need it. You've made a lot of people angry. You've triggered a lot of people on this platform and TikTok with your bullshit and your childish, disgusting behavior. You need to grow up severely. Because until you do, and until you actually get sober, not just pretend to be sober, which you aren't doing very well, by the way, um, until you actually do changes and do the work it takes to be a decent person, your life is going to continue to be chaotic, devastated, wreckage. Those are the words that come to mind when I think of your life. And the sad part about it is, it's not just your life you are wrecking. Your kids are having to pay the consequences for your online behavior because your kids are being bullied because of your behavior. You embarrass them, clearly. You should be embarrassed of yourself. And the fact that you aren't tells me therein lies the problem. I really hope you take some time and look within yourself and hear these words and take them to heart as they are intended, not trying to be hateful or mean. It comes from a good place. They sound harsh, but I mean well. That's all I have for Miss Lori Jones right now, because she is spiraling, continuing to spiral anyway, and I don't see that changing. I don't see her giving a damn. And until she does give a damn, there's really nothing anybody could say or do that's going to change that. So now we have Miss Boss Lady next. This one, man, she says she never said she was a paralegal. Oh, but yes, she did. Hold on, Fallen, Tammy. If you guys want to hop up for a minute, you may. If not, that's cool. After Boss Lady, I will be moving on to Beardo Gets Scared and talking about a few things that he covered. And then maybe some Spirit Talker app. Okay, so Boss Lady has basically hinged her entire self-worth on the fact that she was a paralegal. Oh, I was a paralegal. I was a paralegal. I was a paralegal. And then when people discovered that she in fact was never a paralegal, she said, "Oh, I never said I was a paralegal." And yes, you did. You hinged your entire self-worth on the fact that you were a paralegal. Like your whole ass worth was hinged on the fact that you were a paralegal. Which you aren't, by the way. Never were a paralegal. Ever. And then you said that you didn't say that comment about karma when you obviously did. You just keep digging and digging and digging your hole, ma'am. And I don't like you. I like you less than I like Lori, and that's saying something because Lori, in my opinion, is an abusive twat. So, there you go. Ma'am, do you realize that you filmed your child in the bathtub? Who does that? You don't film your child in a state of undress in the bathtub and post it on like a public platform. That's disgusting. Don't do that. The fuck is wrong with you? And then you doxed Raggedy. You tried to dox Nookie. You don't know when to shut the fuck up. You just don't. And the shit you're doing is volatile. It's dangerous. What the hell?
Whatever. At least maybe now she'll get some help. So then I see the video with Jess saying, here she is. She's not requesting any money. Don't send her any money. We don't know who that is. We knew the whole time it was Lisa. That's when's your boyfriend's birthday? Oh, what is that, Jonathan? Hang on. I gotta write that down. Where's my pen? Sorry, I'm trying to keep my face out. They're just screenshotting everything. Nookie is that crazy. So, man, I just see my table right now with the notes all over. I've got like these index cards everywhere, all over my table. Oh, May 4th, really? Aw. My mom, my dad, and myself were all Taurus. Jonathan, I'm going to the library tomorrow. Sorry, guys. Jonathan Livingston.
In those index cards, Boss Lady, does it say, "I will not tell a fib"? Because if not, you should definitely put that in your index cards. Oh, and shock face, you never filed a police report. Nobody's getting extradited. Yes, I mispronounced that on purpose, because that's literally the way she says it. Nobody's getting extradited. Okay? There are a lot of people out here waiting for our excretations. Or excretions. Whatever the fuck. Ma'am, I'm giving you some serious side eye right now. Okay? I just want you to know that. Dark, get your ass up here. I'm all alone. I'm so lonely. This is lonely. I'm so lonely. Why you gotta discriminate? I could sing another song. I in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lions sleep tonight. I I screamed this. Or I can do the oh wow what but see your face is touching. Oh wow what got you got to it. Who is the power in the pocket? It's broken. Oh, you're upsetting George. There's another one. It's let me think. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. If bluebirds fly over the rainbow, why, oh, why can't Oh my god, Panda, you sound like you're dying. No, that's Frank the moose. It's the dying moose. I'm trying to think of the other one I do. And the greatest hits by Panda. Album 1. For just the low fee of $5.99, low installments, top 4 ways are in the bio. For 5 easy installments of free $99, you too can hear the screeches of the panda beast. Throw it at your radio today. Throw your radio out your window today for just 5 easy installments of $3.99. I'm trying to sing again, yes. Easy Street said, for fuck's sake, Dart, get up there with her so shut the
I'm backstage.
I hear you, Dart.
Oh my god. She's killing me.
I'm not killing you. I'm singing you the song of my people.
I think you need to get new people. Hey, she would kill me.
You need new people.
You need new people.
And you were like, oh, please don't start singing. Please
Yeah, don't stop singing.
You guys would miss yelling at me if I ever actually did stop.
Yeah, I would.
But shit, I don't mind embarrassing myself. Or it's actually not embarrassing. I'm just like torturing you guys. But
Help me.
listen, it's a flex. I can make animals go nuts from thousands of miles away. Like the people next door to Easy Street, their dog started barking.
Holy shit. Dang.
I have had like audience members tell me that their next door neighbor's dog was barking. I'm like, I love it so much. I'm so proud of myself. Hey, Blossom, those eyeballs are back. Just saying. Oh, I had fun in Beardo's stream. They've got some stuff going on over there right now, but once all that kind of settles and stuff, we should be able to do some collabs.
Hey, great.
We got some stuff going on right now. I'll talk to you behind the scenes about that though.
Okay, yeah, you did kind of. My old man's gonna go get me.
He's a good dude though.
Well, that's
And he
good.
does it for the right reasons. He's not a debunker because he doesn't believe. He debunks things for the validity of the real evidence and real paranormal investigators that are really trying to get solid evidence.
Yeah.
He does it for the right reason, and he's not malicious
get
about it either. He's like, he just tells you like it is. He's just honest.
Right.
And he's not mean about it. You know, he tells you respectfully so that maybe you can correct it or maybe do better. You know, it's constructive criticism. It's not like he's just being a dick just because.
No,
Like,
you don't understand that. I can't wait to have the fries.
I feel like people misunderstand him though sometimes because he's got some people attacking him right now for.
Why? Oh. Well.
Because he called them out on their bullshit. And they didn't like it.
Hey, what was the deal about Lisa? You said you had said the deal about Lisa? Anything new about Lisa? I didn't see her today. Of course, I wasn't really looking for her. I've been out gaming and watching
Not Lisa,
shit
but
off Trump's.
Lori.
Oh.
Lori,
Lost her mind?
Well, you saw her makeup. I think
Yeah,
that's
I was
pretty.
wondering. I went back just to look at the little bit of what she did to her makeup. What the hell is she doing?
Listen, we have kids, right?
I want to know what the purpose of that was. I didn't get to watch
She
it. I,
has teenagers. Okay, teenagers know how to do makeup. She's trying to say that her teenage daughter did her makeup. In that
well,
picture, does it look more like her teenage daughter did it,
it
or
looks
does
like a
it look like she
3-year-old
did the
did it.
mirror?
She looked like a 3-year-old did it, or a drunk moron.
Or somebody hopped up on Addie's
Well, that
looking
too,
in the mirror. And
because
like,
that's out there.
I think she made it look bad to make it more believable that her daughter did it.
Her daughter's a teenager. She knows how to do makeup. Even my kid knew how to do makeup at 12.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She made it so terrible to maybe make people believe that her daughter did it when all she actually did is confirm that she did it to herself in the mirror.
Yeah, she's not very smart. I don't know what she gets out of this bullshit.
Attention.
Hell, I don't see how even she get attention out of that besides being stupid.
Made fun of. She don't care what kind of attention she gets.
It's just as long as she gets it.
Yeah. And it's sad that I know people like that.
That is sad.
I mean, take a look at the people that have said shit on, commit me sideways
Yeah.
for attention. But, like, it's obvious she did that looking in the mirror. It is. It's obvious. Like, I'm sorry. A moose could have done better makeup than that.
Anybody could. A 3-year-old could do better makeup than that.
I got me a
Oh,
juice head today, and it's pretty good. It's rainbow drops.
What's juice head? I've never heard of it.
Vape.
Candy?
Vape.
Oh, ah,
Rainbow drops. It tastes like candy, basically.
sounds good. I don't vape, so I don't know. I don't smoke or nothing.
I used to not. I don't smoke cigarettes. I can't.
In case you all any of the drama people in here. No, I don't smoke. Oh my god.
Yeah. Breaking
And I don't drink.
news.
Breaking news. Jar don't smoke. News at 11.
That would be about the equivalent of their broadcast. Because
I
they're so
don't smoke. I
stupid.
can't
God.
drink. So I'm really the most dullest person ever to be even talked about.
And I am too, which is what's so funny. It's like I go to work and I come home and I do this. That's it. But they they posted another video, I think yesterday. I just told YouTube not to show it to me. So, but what they said was Panda goes on a rant,
Oh, you did.
or
When
something
did this
like.
happen?
I don't. Oh, it was when I was talking about the bullshit they have done to me in the past, like with
Oh,
the doxing and the bullshit, basically, and
and that's a rant.
how that's
Stating
abusive,
fact.
and it is abusive. I don't care if you don't like it or not.
And that ain't a rant. That's just stating fact.
Yeah, and that I was just talking. If that's a rant, then I would like to know what you'd call what you've done. Like crazy lady, come on.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the person that's got 3 fucking sock accounts dedicated to one person. Weirdo. I'm not the person talking to myself in the comment section either. I would just like to point that out.
That's funny, actually.
Oh my
I
god, it
knew people
was.
on Yahoo that used to do that.
Yeah, like answer
Seriously.
yourself in the fucking comment section because
I
nobody
love
will talk to you. That's
I'm looking at them like, what the fuck are you
I always felt so bad for them. Like, it's bad when you feel sorry for the people talking shit to you because they're so intellectually challenged that they don't understand that it's obvious they're talking to themselves.
Yeah,
Poor
and everybody
thing.
knows he's talking to themselves. Yeah,
The
that's
only
not very
person
bright.
that doesn't
You have no
realize
friends?
that it's obvious is them.
Do you not have friends, people?
No, clearly not.
I mean, come
Clearly
on.
they don't.
It's bad
Like,
to
if
talk
you
to
have to,
yourself, people.
yeah, like, if you can't get 3 to 4 people to respond to you, and you have to talk to yourself,
You have issues.
that's
Serious
that's
issues.
sad. That's sad. But anyway, boss lady um goes on a tangent here, and
When
this
doesn't
woman is nuts. I'm sorry.
she? I wish you guys would quit giving her credit for anything. Even watch her. She's too ignorant. She's
What?
seriously. It's
It's sad.
not worth.
It's so sad. Like, she honestly believes that we don't remember, or she tries to gaslight people a lot, which is a common trait she has with that person with the troll accounts. Um, I think those two should link up. They're a lot alike. They both like spreading misinformation and are seriously deluded themselves into thinking they're important. Um,
What's this? My card is empty. I don't even know what it is.
oh, it's funny that you automatically know who that is. I'm glad you know
Who?
that
What?
she is not talking to herself.
Oh, yeah. She's.
No, that's the part you want to comment on. But okay. But dude, this one's insane.
Who's LOL?
Probably her on a sock account. One of her personalities.
High hidden personality. I'm dark. I'm very boring. Very, very boring.
I am too.
And I'm Southern.
I'll check that out. Wow. All of a sudden, I see somebody talking about what she said about her sister Ronnie. If you don't hear from Jess or Ronnie or me, it's a fake, you know. So then all of a sudden, people, I just want to get my Purdy's. Remember,
I drink way too much
I
tea.
literally for work. So I see this something about you were invited to my daughter's birthday party.
Apparently, this is the part where she talks about how she had a problem with somebody not wanting Lisa at the birthday party all cracked out. Well, apparently, she sees no problem with letting crackheads come to your kids' birthday parties.
I don't know. I don't know her well enough.
Well, no, it's what she says. Like, she's talking about Ronnie not wanting Lisa
Oh.
at her kid's birthday party, and then her having a problem with it because the kid's still little and it wouldn't remember it anyway. I'm like, well, still, you probably shouldn't have crackheads at your 2-year-old's or your small child's birthday parties. It's just not a good practice.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't want anybody like that at my party, my kid's party.
I wouldn't want a crackhead at my birthday party, let alone my kid's birthday party.
Nah, that too.
I don't really associate with crackheads. I'm just saying.
I don't either.
Except for this one time at band camp.
I don't want her seeing her, you like this. I mean, she's one. I mean, she's not going to remember, oh, yeah, when I was 1 year old, my aunt was all, she's, whatever. Okay, that's her child.
she can do what she wants. So she's like, oh, my child seeing you like that, and blah, 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 blah. So we knew Lisa was lying, but of course people sent her money. So then what was it? A week later, Ronnie gets on there saying, I'm done with this app. I just nothing but, threats. Well, she wasn't. So then she gets on, and Lisa was using CA that had.
Ma'am? Yeah, she actually was. Like Ronnie or not. You have no idea the shit that Ronnie and Jess have received. Like, you would be amazed at how many people go after them because they are her sister.
Really?
Yeah. They were, I mean, it's public knowledge that people threaten Ronnie. It's not just
Sheesh.
because Ronnie has, did some shit doesn't mean that stuff did not legitimately happen to her. Like, people would, like, basically hold her accountable for her sister's behavior. Like, why don't you do something with her? Or
It's
asking the
not her
family.
problem.
Right. Like, she's not responsible for Lisa. Lisa's grown. And I
No.
get it. The family, blah, blah, blah part of it. But, like, there's only so much you can do before you have to just let that person figure it out. Like,
Yeah, you do. And you can't stop until they're ready to stop anyway, so.
no.
Sadly.
I mean, what do you expect her to do? That's what I would like to know. I would like to know what they expect Ronnie to do about it, because Ronnie's not her parent, first and foremost.
True, and she's outraged, so. Yeah. Ain't
Like,
nothing
I
she
don't
can
feel like it's right to think that Ronnie's responsible for keeping her sister straight. Like, Ronnie's got problems herself. I don't like Ronnie. Let me make that clear. I've always been clear about that. I don't like her for my own reasons. I'm not even going there, but I don't particularly like her as a person. I don't like her personality. I don't like certain things about how she comes off. But, like, that doesn't make it okay. Like, I'm not going to sign off on some bullshit just because I don't like the person that they're doing it to. It's still wrong.
Yeah.
Ronnie's name in it. Ronnie gets online and says, that's not mine. This is. But I don't want you to donate. Ding, 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 ding. There went my balls. I was like, oh my gosh. She's dry begging. She is telling you guys to send her money. So I'm like, oh my gosh. This was like,
Oh my god!
Why is it
Why?
any of your business?
Why is it then, boss lady, that you were up her ass until everybody else turned on her? Until you had what you thought you needed to, quote unquote, expose her? If you were like,
Just
oh
wondering why I
my
was in
gosh,
her
you were
business.
fine with her at that time. So why not come out and say something at that time then, if you were so against it, ma'am? Why just now?
Why is it her business?
It isn't.
Yes.
I could sit here and I could dry bag to hell and back, and it wouldn't be anybody's business.
I ain't begging nothing for nobody. I don't even have a really a YouTube.
Dark, what do I do, or what am I doing most of the time when you talk to me?
Talking. I don't know what you're doing.
Like, most of the time when I call you, what am I, like, where am I leaving most of the time?
Work?
Yeah, that's weird. I work.
You work all the time, or before you leave and when you get home.
Before, yeah,
Sometimes when you get home, not all the time. I didn't talk to you today.
yeah. But most of the time when I've talked to you, I'm either headed into work or going home from work.
But me and my old man were really, really busy today. So,
Today was crazy.
yeah,
Like,
we had to go get our meds and all that stuff that we had to do.
I had a lot going on right before work myself, but like it was just one of those days. It was a Friday, have to get
Yeah.
everything set for the week and
Oh well, it's no big deal.
payday. But like, even if I were to be like, excuse me, I need money, which I don't, because like I said, I work. Yeah, things are tight, but I'm not gonna go being like, oh, please send me monies. No, I work hard so that I don't have to.
Shit, I don't want money. What was deleted by that person?
Huh?
Uh, um,
What are you doing?
I was just looking at some.
Oh, okay. But anyway, that's what she's talking about there. Oh my god.
Oh well,
Just dropped something.
like I said, I just mostly paranormal stuff. I give up on those
Yeah,
morons.
I thought I would give updates, and I think I've pretty much given the updates. Boss lady's still being a cunt, and
And
Lori's
lying.
still being stupid. Um, so, anywho, there's this other thing I want to look at. Let me.
Tammy was on today. Uh, Tammy Hall. I don't know what she said though,
Oh,
because
dear
I didn't get on there, so I
Lord.
don't know what she said. I figured the same old thing. She's ranting and raving about the government. So,
Probably. Hold on. Here's a video. Okay, we're done with the drama for the day, so that crowd can,
yay! Good.
you know.
Maybe sooner.
I've given my updates. And like I said a couple weeks back, the updates will be brief. I'll do them once a week, and that's about it. And I'll just share the ones I can have laughy laughs at, and that's it. So scariest. Oh God. Oh Jesus. That's terrifying. No, no scary old ladies. I'm gonna want something else because that's gonna give me nightmares. Um, Jesus.
Welcome to Fearsome Top 5. Get comfortable because today we're taking a look at 6 scary ghost videos. Number 1. TikTok user Gina Carr frequently posts videos to her account.
She never watched. I think I've seen this.
Her adorable daughter, but mixed within her account.
Fearsome top 6.
I think I've seen this. I'm not sure.
There's this and like the new.
Aww.
What was that? Was Lisa? Oh my God, that's terrible. That's funny as shit. But hey, that's terrible. Yes, she would have. Absolutely. Trying to steal his front door. But she could have it. Like all of it. I don't care. Just get her off my porch. Get her off my lawn. Creepy ass lady. She's creepy. Like, no.
Ooh.
Get it away. That old lady creeped me out, man. You keep her dark.
No.
Yeah. Send her to your house so I don't have to deal with her.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Because you want the creepy old lady to come visit you, and you want to wake up to that, like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I had to. No, I wake up enough to my old man snoring. That's bad enough.
All this uploads is one that took her followers by surprise. One day while Gina was alone in her bedroom recording a video to show off her new hair extensions, something incredibly chilling was caught in the background. As she held the extensions up to her head, someone appeared to walk by in the background. With her eyes focused on her phone screen, she had no idea that someone or something was right behind her. And if we zoom in,
That would creep me out right there.
Oh, hell no.
One half a face. Absolutely no facial features can be seen. And this unsettling detail didn't go unnoticed by the people in her comments. Gina claims that she was completely alone in the house, and if someone was walking behind her, she definitely would have heard the creaking of the floorboards, leaving her no way of explaining this eerie
That's too
figure
solid, though.
or explaining the big forehead. Number
I
two,
say it's too solid. Fake.
is a TikTok. There's lots of
Yeah. And this guy was like, oh, and it's abnormally large forehead. That wasn't very nice. What if they had, like, receding hairline? That ghost is going to come back and be like, excuse me, but, like, I have bad genetics.
It's too solid to be even.
Yeah.
Anything.
I think it was just somebody came in the room and they tried to pass it
Exactly.
off. Like, not everything you don't understand is paranormal. Like, and I feel like people need to remember that. Like, some things have rational explanations. A lot of it does, actually. You know, they think if the floorboards make a weird sound, it's a ghost. No, it's probably not. Probably the house settling or some kind of pretty asinine explanation. Like, it's probably simple. Very simple.
videos with her dog, who just so happens to have incredible fashion sense. One day in November, Zari decided to head to a national park to take her dog on a nice long walk. When she arrived, she noticed there were no other cars in the parking lot, and assumed she was completely alone. As she started her journey down the path, after some time, she randomly decided to record a video. But when she later took a look at this recording, she noticed something that made her hair stand on end. After panning the camera behind her, she caught what looks to be a large black figure trailing in the distance.
Man, the power of Lisa on crack could probably lift an entire semi, dude. Ooh, I know what I want to look into.
What?
Sirens. Okay, we have options. We can look into sirens. Let me think. What is the other one? There's another one. Where'd it go? We can watch a Beardos debunking. Um, North American cryptid creatures, Canada, USA, and Mexico.
Don't matter to me.
I like cryptids. This is why you should never live next to a graveyard.
Oh, that'd be a good one for you.
Yeah, considering I live next to a fucking graveyard.
Yeah, that's a good one for you.
God damn it. Okay. This is gonna scare the shit out of me. I can already tell.
That was the whole point.
This is why you should never live next. We can do games. We can start. Oh, April, it's good to see you. I've missed you.
Hey, April.
I hope you feel better soon. Because we miss you. So I think after this one, what I'll do is I'll pull up another paranormal game that you shouldn't play episode. And we can go over some more of those. Those are fun.
You like those.
Happened in 1991 in West Virginia, and boy, is it a good one. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right channel, because that's all I do. And I upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. If that's of interest to you, then please take all of the like buttons, white clothes, and wash them with a brand new red shirt.
Oh, I like this.
Also, please subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads.
Excuse me? I'm not washing anything red with my white shirt, sir. What did you say, Dark?
I like this guy. I've seen him a couple of times. I think I've subscribed to him.
Yeah, it's balling.
He's pretty good.
All right. In 1991, Brian Kendall and his young family were tired of living the busy city life. He worked in Baltimore, Maryland. He was a carpenter. But he and his wife, even though that would mean a commute for Brian to get back to Baltimore to do work, because he still worked in Baltimore. So Brian and Belinda start looking for places to live in West Virginia, and they find this nice home in Slanesville, West Virginia, which is a population of 182 people, last time I checked. The house itself had more of a cabin feel to it. I mean, it was way out in the middle of this forest, no neighbors anywhere. It was a ranch style, so single floor, and basically everywhere you looked was just pure forest. So this cabin is super isolated, but Brian and Belinda had come from a neighborhood that wasn't very safe. They didn't like sending their kids outside without supervision. Now, living in the middle of nowhere, they could at least let their kids go outside and not really worry about them. So even though it might have been lonely, they felt like it was at least safe. And Brian went out and got a beautiful, friendly black lab dog to come and protect the property. And her name was Coco. They loved Coco. She's very protective of the kids right away. And she blended in with the family immediately. And very quickly, the family really took to living in Slanesville. They loved their new home and their new life. Everything was just going so well at first. Shortly after they had moved into the house and finally unpacked, Belinda invited her brother, as well as her brother's wife and daughter, named Jordan, to come over and check out the house. And so they come over. Belinda had gotten a cake and some balloons, and she planned on throwing a little mini surprise party for Jordan, who was about the same age as her kids and had recently had a birthday, and so they figured they would surprise her, give her some cake, and have a little impromptu birthday party. After cake, the kids went into the living room and were playing in there together. The living room was right next to the kitchen, and so the adults were in the kitchen having coffee and chatting, and as they're chatting, they all noticed something very strange going on in the living room with the kids. The kids had taken all of the balloons, and there's pretty high ceilings inside of this living room. And as the adults are looking,
They all float. Yeah, float. Don't ask me what that was.
That's what I was wondering.
That was a ghost. Definitely a ghost, and not me doing a terrible impersonation. Definitely not me doing the terrible impersonation. Nope.
In the direction of the kids and these balloons, they notice one of the balloons comes down from the ceiling, but the string is tight, as if someone's holding the balloon and pulling it down. But no one was pulling on the balloon. The adults stopped talking, and they all noticed this, and they're all looking at it because it looked very unnatural. The balloon stops right in the middle of the room, and it's a ways away from the kids, and the kids haven't noticed it. And the parents are watching the balloon, and no one knows what to make. No one's even commenting that this is happening. They're all just quiet and watching. And the balloon starts moving across the room over to where Jordan was. Jordan notices the balloon for the first time. She turns and goes, "Thank you," as if she's talking to someone, but no one's there. She reaches out to take the balloon, and then she goes to grab it. It drifts right back up to the ceiling, as if someone had been holding it and let go of it. And Jordan kind of grabbed for it, watched it go to the ceiling, and then Jordan just turned around and kept on playing. That startled everybody. They could make sense of a balloon coming down and then move. The helium could be leaking. There could be a crash in the room up and looked like someone had released it. They couldn't explain it. The parents go right in the living room. They're looking at each other. The parents are like, "Did you see that? What was that about?" And they
Did they have somebody over there by the balloon doing this number to it?
You cut me up when you do that. Sorry.
I don't know why the candle won't stay lit. Gee, it's a mystery. No one can solve that mystery. Side eyes.
grab that balloon down from the ceiling, and they're trying to like replicate what they saw. And they're kind of looking at each other like, "Are we going crazy?" And they go over to Jordan, and they say, "Hey, who were you talking to a minute ago?" And she couldn't really articulate anything. And they said, "When the balloon was right here in front of you, who were you talking to?" And she stops and kind of thinks about it for a second. Okay. You know, she's like 2 or 3 years old. She thinks about it. She points in the direction where no one's standing.
What did you say?
So my food's here. I'm gonna go to mute real quick. I've been listening. I'm
Okay.
just gonna be mute.
Okay.
Yeah. The parents look in the direction where she's pointing. They look at each other, and they start laughing because they're like, "Okay, we're scaring ourselves. Obviously, you know, the helium must have come out. And it was a draft, and she's 3. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's probably got an imaginary friend. Like, we're just scaring each other. So let's just drop it. Let's forget the balloon." And so they do. They forget the balloon, and they don't think about it again. But after Jordan and her parents leave, Belinda and Brian would say to each other, like, "That was pretty weird." A couple of days later, Brian asked his daughter, Blair, who's about 5 or 6 years old, if she wanted to come with him and go explore the back forest behind their property, because Brian had been working so much, he hadn't really had a chance to go explore, and he figured now's a good chance to go. They start walking around, and after walking a bit of a ways, they stop because they see something in the middle of the forest that shouldn't have been there. They see this van, like a vehicle, that looked like it had been set on fire at one point. It's totally charred. It's basically just a frame, and it's parked in the middle of the forest, and there are no roads anywhere. And they go in the back of the vehicle and look inside, and there are all these burnt stuffed animals and kids' toys that are in the back of this van, and there is what looks to be the spring of a mattress that must have been caught up in this fire that burned the vehicle. And Brian just had this sinking feeling that something was wrong with this scene. And he said, "Hey, you know what, Blair, we gotta go. Let's not look at this. We don't know what this is. Let's just go." When they get back to the house, Brian would tell Belinda what he found. How would that van have gotten there? And why was it there? It just didn't make any sense to either of them. Over the first couple of months that they were living in Slanesville, Brian was trying to commute daily to his work in Maryland, but it was taking up hours and hours of his day. He was getting no sleep, and it just didn't.
I do too. Mr. Ballin's a good dude. Beardo's a good dude too. But Mr. Ballin, He's pretty cool.
Makes sense. And so even though they only had one car, he started commuting on Monday morning to work and then staying with his mom who lived in Maryland and then coming back to Slanesville on Friday night, which would mean that every week, Monday to Friday, Belinda and the kids would be alone in their cabin in the woods in Slanesville with no vehicle. But Belinda had grown up in a very isolated house in the middle of a forest in West Virginia, so she wasn't a stranger to this type of setup, and so really didn't have any issues with this lifestyle that they had in Slanesville. Blair had been asking ever since they moved in if she could go camping one night out in their RV, a little RV camper that was parked right outside their property, and she wanted to spend a night out there by herself. And so one week when Brian was away for work, Belinda finally caved and said, "Okay, Blair, you can stay in the camper tonight." She wasn't thrilled about this idea, but she felt like the kids had a little bit of cabin fever going on because they were so cooped up in this house, and she figured this is an easy way to make Blair feel a little bit happier living here. So she told Blair, "Once you go in there, I want you to lock the door and not open it again. And Coco, their dog, is going to stay with you." Blair was just fine with the setup, and so that night she went out to the camper. She had Coco with her. She had all her warm clothes on. She brought a lantern with her and some books she was going to read. She goes out, and her mom tucks her into her bed inside of the RV and gives her a kiss, and then she leaves. In the camper, there was a pull-out bed that she was on that took up the majority of the floor space in the camper. On her right, as she was laying down, was a big window with a blackout curtain that slid across the whole thing, and she kept that curtain shut. At the foot of her bed, to the right was the door that led into the camper, and there was a window on that as well, but there was no blind to block it. And she turns off her lantern and she gets under her covers with Coco right next to her, and she goes to sleep. At some point in the night, Blair wakes up suddenly because Coco is acting really strange. She's very uneasy, and she's looking towards the door that leads into the camper, and she's acting like she just saw something. So Blair sits up, she's trying to calm down Coco, and she looks at the window on the door, and she can look outside. There's a little bit of moonlight outside, so she's got a little bit of illumination. And as she's looking, she sees what looks like a figure walk past the door. She can't tell if it's a person or if it's an animal or what it is, but she definitely saw something walk past the door. And Coco clearly saw it too, because Coco begins growling, and instead of just looking at the door where this figure was, Coco basically follows the figure and is now looking at the window right next to Blair. Blair thinks it's her mom, and so she tries to calm down Coco. She turns on her lantern, and she goes to the front door, and she peeks her head out. She doesn't see anything. She unlocks it and opens it and pokes her head out. She doesn't see her, and she goes, "Mom?" And there's no one out there. She looks up at the house, which is right next to her, and all the lights are off. There's no sign that her mom left the house. Suddenly feeling really startled, she shuts the door, locks it, and goes back in her bed. Now, the whole time that Blair had turned that lantern on and gone down to the door and yelled for her mom, Coco was still in the bed looking at the window where the blackout curtains were covering up whatever was on the other side. Now, when Blair's going back to the bed, Coco is showing her teeth. She's baring her teeth and she's growling at the window. Blair's totally spooked. She jumps into her bed, throws the covers over her head, and she's sitting there hoping that Coco will just stop and that this will all end and she can go to sleep. But Coco doesn't stop. And she's like reaching out and trying to pull Coco to get under the covers with her, but Coco won't stop. Blair decides she has to take a look out that window. And she thinks, maybe it is my mom. Maybe I just missed her before and she's trying to come in. Maybe she was knocking and I didn't hear her. And so she takes her covers off her head, gets right up next to the side of the wall. She's underneath the window, which is right next to her. And she starts pulling aside that curtain. And as soon as she's got a view out the window, she sees a dark figure that looks like a man or something standing right outside the glass, looking down into her camper. She's so scared. She drops the curtain and just gets under her covers. Coco goes right on top of Blair and is standing over Blair, basically protecting her. And at some point, Blair does manage to fall asleep. Meanwhile, on the same night, there was some other drama happening up at the main house. Belinda had put Blair's younger brother, Sean, to bed almost immediately after she tucked in Blair inside of the camper. Sean was 3 years old, and he was a great sleeper. She could put him in his bed, say goodnight to him, and she wouldn't see him until the next morning. But that night, Belinda was laying in bed, and Sean multiple times would get out of his bed and come into her bedroom and say he was scared and didn't want to be in his room. Belinda would get up, she'd go back, she'd tuck him back in and say, "You got nothing to worry about, it's just a new house. You're fine, you're safe." But on the third or fourth time that this happened, because it was so out of character, she asked Sean, what's going on? What are you so scared of? And he says, there's a monster in my window. Belinda assumes what he means is maybe a deer was outside, or some other animal might have walked by the window, because in virtue of being a single house, all of the bedroom windows are at ground level. And so she goes to the window and she looks out, and it's just forest, deep, dark forest, everywhere you look. And so she's thinking, okay, maybe a deer walked by the window, or a moose, or something like that, and that's what he saw. And so she was able to explain to him that, it's just a new house, there's probably some deer that are coming by the window, you got nothing to worry about. And so she was able to finally calm him down, and he would go to sleep. The next morning, Blair is relieved to wake up and have sunlight be coming through that little open window on the front door. She and Coco go into the main house. She sits down for breakfast with her mom and with her brother, and Belinda asks her, how was camping? And Blair, who was normally a very chatty child, was very quiet about it. And her mom said, well, did you have a time? Like, you can tell me anything about it? And Blair just said, no, I don't think I want to go camping again. And she didn't elaborate. She just didn't want to talk about it. And so Belinda didn't ask any more questions, and that was that. That day goes by without incident, and then that night, Belinda gets Sean and Blair to bed in their normal rooms. They're asleep. Belinda goes to her bed, and she falls asleep. And she starts to have this very strange dream. In her dream, she wakes up and looks at the foot of her bed, and she sees a boy she doesn't recognize. And he's signaling her to come with him. And so in her dream, she gets up out of her bed, and she follows him out of her room, and she goes out to the front yard, and it's daylight outside. And on her front yard are all these clotheslines strung all over the front yard. And there are these white sheets that are hanging from each of these clotheslines, all in different random directions. And she's trying to find this boy, and she can't find him because all the sheets keep getting in her way. She finally stops because she feels something on her toe. And she looks down. She's barefoot, and on her right big toe is a clothespin that had been pinched onto her toe. And so she reaches down and pulls it off, and that's when she wakes up. And now she's awake in real life. And so she sits up, and she's kind of looking around, and she's in that immediate fog following a really vivid dream. And then she realizes that was just a dream, gets back in bed, and she goes to sleep. The next day, she gets up, she gets out of her bed, and she begins pulling her blankets up to make her bed. As she's walking around the foot of the bed, she stops because she sees something on the ground, a clothespin. They don't own any clothespins. And so she's sitting there looking at it, thinking, how could that have gotten there? What was that dream about? Was I awake? Was I doing something in my sleep? Was I sleepwalking? She can't make sense of it, but it totally freaked her out. That day, Belinda told her sister about this dream with the clothespin and finding it at the foot of the bed. And her sister's like, look, you probably just need a break. You're alone with the kids all the time. You're isolated. Let me come over. I'll watch the kids, and you can just go for a walk and do whatever. Just clear your mind. And so Belinda's sister comes over, takes the kids, and Belinda decides that what she's going to do is go explore the woods behind their house. She walks a little ways behind their property, and she sees something that really stands out to her. It was a little cemetery. It was on their property. Or at least close to their property. She goes over to it and sees there are 4 small heads on themselves. It seemed to indicate that these could have been children. And so she was very unsettled by it and decided that, I'm done with my walk, and I'm just going to go back now. A couple of days later, Blair was sleeping in her room, and she woke up suddenly for no apparent reason. She sat up, she kind of looked around, and she noticed that the curtains that normally would cover up her window that overlooked her bed were open. And she felt really uneasy by this, especially after that incident in the RV. She liked having those curtains closed. So she gets up to go over and shut this curtain, and she looks out the window, and she sees standing in front of the tree line is a dark silhouette of a figure. It looks like a man or some person. And she freezes. And she's looking at it, and she can tell that it's moving towards her. And she's looking even closer, and then she can tell it's now running at her. She shuts it, jumps into her bed, and covers herself up. As she's laying there under her covers, not knowing what to do, she hears Coco barking from her mom's room. Belinda wakes up to Coco barking and looks at what she's looking at. And it's the window. So Belinda gets up, she looks out the window, she doesn't see anything, and tells Coco to calm down. She figured, okay, maybe she saw a deer or something. And then just to be a good mom, she checks on her kids. She goes to Sean's room. Sean didn't wake up from the barking. He's asleep in his bed. But when Belinda goes to Blair's room, Blair is hiding under her covers, and she's scared of something. And she asks Blair, honey, what's wrong? And Blair finally says that she saw something. She thought it was a person. She didn't know what, but it was running towards the house. And so Belinda's thinking to herself, she just saw an animal, because that's probably what Sean saw when he thought he saw a monster outside. And I'm sure that's what Coco saw. Coco's going to react to an animal. There's probably some deer that's coming right up to the window, and it's scaring my kids, it's scaring my dog. And so Belinda tells Blair You got nothing to worry about, honey. Go back to sleep. Everything's going to be fine. She calms her down. She puts her to sleep. She double checks on Sean. Sean's still sleeping. And Belinda and Coco go back into Belinda's room, and they get in bed, and Belinda goes back to sleep. At some point in the night, Belinda's laying with her back to the door, and she feels someone tapping on the back of her head. And she's assuming at this point it's got to be Sean or even Blair who've come in there because they're scared again, and reflects.
I'm sorry, but if I'm laying there and I feel something tapping at the back of my fucking head, we're gonna have problems. Yeah, no, that's terrifying. Like, first the kid goes camping alone, which is weird. Especially in a new place where you're not sure there aren't wild, dangerous. Anyway, both your kids saw the same thing. You saw something. The clothespin was on your toe in your dream, and you woke up and found one. Ma'am, you need to move.
Without even opening her eyes, she says, honey, there's nothing outside. You have nothing to be scared of. Go back to sleep. There's a silence, and then she feels tapping on her head again. Now she opens her eyes and she rolls over to tell one of her two kids that everything's fine, but there's no one there. It startles her because not only is there no one there, but Coco is now on the bed growling in the direction of wherever this tapping was coming from. Immediately, Belinda flips on the light and she's looking around her room and there's nothing. She gets up and she goes into her kids' rooms. They are fast asleep. Just to be sure, she walks around the house, make sure everything is locked. She gets back in her bed and she's sitting there with Coco. Between her kids seeing stuff outside, finding that cemetery, the weird clothespin thing going on, now something feeling like it was tapping her, but no one's in the room with her. She's scared. And in fact, she would say in interviews that this was the first time that she even thought about the word haunted in relationship to what was going on at their house. The next day, Belinda just wanted to get away from the house. So she calls her mom and says, hey, can we use your car for the day to go run some errands? Her mom says, absolutely. Her mom drops the car off, and Belinda and the kids load up and they head into town. When they left, they put Coco in her outdoor cage, totally locked and secure. So they head out and they go to this gas station in Slanesville. And Belinda gets out, she's fueling up her car, and another resident of Slanesville pulls up right next to her and she's filling up her car. And the two women strike up a conversation. At some point in this discussion, the woman asks Belinda where she lives in Slanesville because she's a longtime resident and she didn't recognize Belinda. Belinda describes where she lives, and the woman who's familiar with the area says, well, do you know the story of your property? And Belinda's like, no. She's like, well, years and years ago, there was a really bad fire. I think it was right near your property that a whole family died. And Belinda says, you know what? I actually found a small cemetery a little ways back on our property. But that's what it is. As Belinda is driving away and she's thinking about this story she's been told, she has this sense of relief that now she has some closure on why there's that cemetery on her property. And she couldn't help but think, if her house is haunted, which she'd only recently considered, maybe it's not such a bad thing to have it be this family that's doing the haunting. It didn't feel evil. It just felt kind of sad. And she was empathetic for this lost family. When they got back from running those errands, Coco was gone. They went to the fence and it hadn't been opened. There was no sign that she'd been able to burrow underneath this fence. There was no way for her to get out unless you opened the gate, and it was locked and shut. And so they didn't know what to make of that. And the only thing they could come up with is someone must have taken Coco. And unfortunately, they would never see Coco again. It was a huge loss for this family. Coco was not only a dog they loved and considered part of their family, but she was also their protection. And it was a very big deal that she was gone. A couple of days go by, and Brian's home from work, and everyone in the house is asleep except for Belinda. Belinda was up watching TV, and at some point, she turns off the TV, and she also goes to bed. She starts having the same dream she had when she felt that clothespin on her toe. In her dream, she wakes up, and at the foot of her bed is this boy, the same boy that she had followed outside that she could never find in the sheets. And so she gets up and she starts following this boy. He brings her out to the front of the house, out onto the front yard. And again, the whole front yard is covered in these white sheets that are strung up along clotheslines. And as she's making her way across the front yard, pulling sheets aside, she finally reaches a clearing and she sees this boy who looks like about the same age as her son, Sean. And this boy looks terrified. And she's looking at him, and the boy is kind of looking to his left. And then from behind one of the sheets next to the boy walks this dark figure that stands right next to him and looks dark figure and almost looks like a man, and starts walking up the lane of sheets towards her. She falls over backwards and she wakes up. And when she wakes up in real life, she hears screaming coming from her own son's room. She and Brian jump up out of bed and run into Sean's room. He's laying on the ground with his arm cocked to the side. It's clearly been broken. And he's screaming and guarding his arm. And Belinda's over him saying, "What happened? What happened?" And the boy just says, "The monster came in the window." They don't know what to make of this. They're not sure if that means an intruder came in or what, but they have to get him to the hospital. They scoop him up, they grab Blair, and they get in the car and they leave. They get Sean to the hospital, and sure enough, he's got a very bad break in his arm, and he needs to stay at the hospital for a couple of days. Now, this happened on a Sunday night, and so Brian had to go back to Maryland the next day for work, so their car was gone. So 3 days later, when it was time to get Sean, Belinda had to borrow her mother's car to go pick him up. So Belinda gets her mother's car, and she and Blair drive to the hospital. They pick up Sean. As they're driving back, the car breaks down, and they're on the side of the road with flashers on, and Belinda doesn't know what to do. Luckily, a good Samaritan is driving by, another resident of Slainsville, sees them pulled over. She pulls over. It's an older woman. And she says, "Hey, can I give you guys a ride?" Belinda's like, "Thank you, you asked me to ride." So she, Sean, and Blair load up in the car, and they start driving to their house. And so Belinda tells this woman where she lives. "Yep, you take this road, you get up to our house and sit back in the woods there." And when she realizes where Belinda lives, she looks at Belinda and goes, "You do know the history of your house, right?" And Belinda looks at her and goes, "Yeah, the fire that killed the family we're aware." She goes, "No, not a fire. The last occupant of your house was rumored to be hurting children on your property. And there's no proof, but some of the local men here decided they were going to take justice into their own hands, and they convinced this guy to go hunting with them. And they brought him out in the woods behind his house, and they ambushed him, and his body has never been found. It's rumored there's a van somewhere in the woods near your house where they put him inside of it, shut the doors, and let it on fire." Belinda's in shock hearing this, because now, if her house is haunted, which she's believing it is, it's not some nice family that was sadly lost in a fire. It's this horrible man. They finally got back to the house. They said bye to the woman, and Belinda and her kids went inside. And for Belinda, it was like this horrible sense of dread being in the house. It just felt evil. And she realized that she couldn't stay there anymore. So she picks up the phone, she calls Brian, and she says, "I cannot stay here another night. I have to go." And so Brian says, "Okay." He drives back from Maryland. They pack some bags, they get in his car, and they all leave for Brian's mom's house. And that was it. They never stayed another night at that house. They only went back a couple times to pack up their stuff, put it in a moving truck.
And that, folks, is why you do a history on your house. Not just like look it up online, but also ask the locals. The locals is where you will get a more accurate story on the property and its history. Because spirits like that are vengeful and dangerous. Yeah, there's really nothing you can do about those except for maybe an exorcism, but that's so deep that an exorcism likely wouldn't do any good. It might hold it at bay for a little while, but when evil sets into the ground itself, it's really hard to set a barrier or boundaries there ever again, because evil can seep into the very ground. And I think that's one of such cases. Alright, so we're going to look at paranormal games to not be playing with. Um,
I'm back.
Yay!
Yay! I was watching Lisa while I was eating.
I don't know how you do that.
I wanted dinner after that. No, it was funny. She was in one of her pissed off moods and threatened to doxing everybody. You know, the usual BS.
Oh, she's in one of those moods.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's just like an hour ago.
And a pack
Somebody
of dogs. They
stole some
chased poor
money.
Daniel across the field. And finally, they caught up with him in an old abandoned barn. And in the chaos of them attacking Daniel, he actually lost his arm. And then they covered him in honey and threw him into a beehive. He was
Ew.
in terrible pain. And right before he died, he cursed the men who did this to him and vowed to come back in the afterlife to get his revenge. They say his spirit would never rest. And now his ghost walks the world for all eternity, appearing when his name is called 5 times. So the origin story of the Candyman is actually so sad, and I had never heard about it until now. I always thought the Candyman was this creepy guy who gave out candy and you stood in the mirror and called his name 5 times. I did not know that he was actually in slavery and had a heartbreaking story. Now that is an urban legend. I don't know how true that part is, but still, all Daniel did was love the plantation owner's daughter. Is that so bad? So let's talk about the paranormal game that came from this. A lot of us have played this before at sleepovers. It's been a very popular creepy game over the last 50 years, maybe. The game goes that if you look at a mirror in your bathroom with the lights turned off and repeat Candyman 5 times, you see a pair of glowing red eyes appear in your mirror. They say that as soon as you see these red eyes, you must turn the lights back on in the bathroom and run to the brightest spot in your house where he will come after you. Now, some people have said they've actually seen him appear to them in full body. They've seen him covered in honey with bee stings all over him. Other people have seen him with a giant hook as a hand. And they say that if you really want to summon him, you could even put a piece of candy on the bathroom counter to have a better chance of luring him in. I've also heard a different version of the game where you go into a dark closet facing in and call his name 3 times. A lollipop will appear. And
Okay, I would be doomed because the minute I saw candy, I'd be a goner. Because I'd be like, oh, candy. But they lost me when they said go into a dark closet. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. Not even for candy. No. Why would you do that? Like, what is the uptake on this game? Like, what is the benefit besides being haunted by some terrifying guy who, doesn't actually give you the candy, just taunts you with it? Like, what is the possible benefit from this? Like, I don't hear any positives for this. Like, all I hear is why you shouldn't do it. Like, there's no real benefit. You don't get rich. You don't get good luck or anything positive if You summon the guy. You get like all kinds of terrible shit happening to you. Even in school, like the other girls would play it in the bathroom, and I would be like, nope. That game always gave me the heebie-jeebies, and so did the Bloody Mary one. Because even before I knew anything about paranormal stuff, I knew that mirrors gave me the creeps. Never could figure out why until I grew up and was like, oh, well, that's why. There's so much bad juju attached to mirrors that it's not even funny. Like, no.
And you will know he's in the house.
Just letting you know. I don't know. I never had no problem with it, but nothing ever happened.
So let's move on to the Candy Lady. Her story is just as creepy, but totally different. Now, this urban legend actually originates from a small town in Texas. So if you're from there, you may know this story very well. It is said that the Candy Lady lures children to their doom by leaving enticing goodies on their windowsill just before bedtime. Her plan is for the kids to wait until their mom and dad are fast asleep in bed, and then they eat the candy that they find on their window. They fall asleep, and then the woman creeps up and takes them and gobbles them down. This story actually kind of reminds me of Hansel and Gretel because she gets them to eat all the candy, and then she actually eats them. So this story actually sounds really similar to that. Now, with urban legend says that the children in this small town of Texas actually started to go missing because of this. Although police and authorities didn't know the real reason why. Parents thought maybe they were kidnapped or maybe they just ran away. But it turned out that some of the kids who ate the candy never were taken. And when they got older, they told this to their parents and said, wait, back when I was a kid, I saw candy on my windowsill, and when I ate it, I felt sick. And what's so creepy is that the sheriff who was investigating these missing children's cases actually turned up dead just from investigating that. And his eyes were missing and his pockets were stuffed with candy. So it's super creepy. There was also this other story about this farmer who was just tending his fields and found a bunch of candy wrappers in the middle of the cornfields that were filled with children's teeth. So all these clues revolved around candy and led back to the Candy Lady. So people have always wondered, is this just an urban legend?
This one scared the shit out of me as a kid to the point I wouldn't eat candy if, like, I didn't buy it.
I never heard this story.
Because I was afraid that if I picked up a random piece of candy, it could have been from her, and I didn't want to eat it. You have to understand, as a Creole, a Cajun woman, I am insanely superstitious. Cajuns are very superstitious. Yeah.
I never heard this story. This is unusual.
Yeah, I like these types of videos because you learn something. But I grew up with this story. I grew up with
the Candy Lady. I haven't. The Candyman, yeah.
And the Mary one, and there was another one, the baby blue one, where you look in the mirror and you have a baby in your arms and you have to flush it before the mom comes and gets you.
That sounds silly.
Well, it's just like the other mirror games. I never played any of them because mirrors, like I said, gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Is this just a scary story that parents tell their kids to make them not take candy from strangers? Maybe it's a ghost story to cover up really horrible crimes that did happen? Or maybe the Candy Lady is real and is looking for her next victim right now. Now, this was
actually such a highly requested video topic from you guys. You really wanted me to talk about creepy elevators and specifically the elevator game. So before we jump right into the spookiness part, let's talk about some brief elevator history. And I'm talking brief because we don't really care about full, intense elevator history. So since the dawn of time, humans have always been looking for more efficient ways to do things, such as transporting humans in faster and more convenient ways. The very first elevators were called hoists, and they were used as early as the 3rd century BC. So they were basically these contraptions that were on ropes and pulleys, and they were usually powered by animals, water, or humans. And the first electric elevator was built by a German inventor in 1880, and it had automatic doors and everything. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason, I did not think that the electric elevator was built in the 1800s. Like, I always thought it was sort of a more recent thing, like maybe mid-1900s, but clearly, I don't know much about history. So yeah, elevators have been a thing for a very long time. So let's talk about the superstition that most people know about, the 13th floor. Next time you're in a hotel, I'll try to be there. It's because 13 is a very superstitious number, and a lot of people are afraid of it. Now, this is actually a real phobia. I'm going to try and pronounce this. It's called triskaidekaphobia, which is an extreme fear of the number 13. And think about it, this number is associated with so many bad things. Like Friday the 13th is considered to be very unlucky, and a lot of terrible events that have happened in the world have happened on the 13th day of the month. And I can make a whole different video about that topic entirely. So by removing the 13th floor, many hotel owners are simply making sure they don't alienate any superstitious clients. Because if your hotel has a 13th floor, most people will literally request to change rooms. Like, tons of people will refuse to stay on the 13th floor. So that's why when you're in an elevator, it goes from floor 12 to 14. And some people don't even notice that jump, but now I know you will, since you just watched this video. And the funny thing is, there still is technically a 13th floor in a hotel. You can't just like magically skip a floor. You can call it floor 14, but we all know it's actually floor 13. But yeah, they kind of just disguise it so that they don't freak people out. So before we get into the paranormal game, let's talk about a creepypasta called the Red Cloak. This is more of an urban legend that has to do with the 13th floor. So just because most hotels don't have a 13th floor doesn't mean that they all don't. Actually, if you go and visit a very old hotel, chances are they will still have a 13th floor. I'm talking hotels that are like 100 years old or more. There's a legend that if you are staying in a hotel room on the 13th floor and choose to go into the elevator, sometimes a woman in a red cloak will walk in the elevator with you and will stay quiet the entire way up. Now, you won't be able to see her face because her red cloak will be covering her eyes, and she won't respond if you try and talk to her. And when the doors open on the 13th floor, she will walk off and disappear down the hallway. Now, it's actually creepy the amount of people who have said they've seen this red-cloaked woman. I read this one story about this person who lives in an apartment building on the 13th floor, and they actually see her quite frequently. So they say that if you have to stay on the 13th floor for some reason at a hotel, to always take the stairs up to your room. Now, I've never seen anything bad happening to people who have seen this woman, but just be careful. And
All right. I'll be right back. I'm going to leave this playing. Got to mute for a minute.
Okay.
But I'll be right back.
So what does everybody think about this? Hi, Paula.
while I'm waiting for the elevator, this is a game called Elevator to Another World. And it has been going around the internet for quite a few years now. The title of the game pretty much explains it, but if you decide to play this game, it will basically take you to another dimension. You're supposed to play this game alone, and you have to be in a building with at least 10 floors. And I've also heard this game is better played if it's at 3 a.m., but I don't really think it matters that much, as long as you play it after dark. So here's how the game works. After dark, step into an elevator in a building that has at least 10 floors, and make sure no one else is in the elevator with you. If someone walks in, the game won't work. Now the instructions I'm about to tell you are a little bit confusing. And it basically has to do with you going up and down to different floors over and over again. It's basically how the ritual begins. So here's how it goes. Bear with me. It's a little bit confusing. Once you're in the elevator alone, press the button for the 4th floor. And when it takes you there, do not step out of the elevator. Remain inside and press the button for the 2nd floor. When you reach the 2nd floor, press the button for the 6th floor. When you reach the 6th floor, press the button for the 4th floor. When you reach the 2nd floor, press the button for the 10th floor. And when you reach the 10th floor, press the button for the 5th floor. And this is where it finally gets interesting. So after you've gone up and down and all about, you're going to be on the 5th floor. A young woman may enter the elevator. Do not look at her. Do not speak to her. She is not what she seems. Most people say she will ask you, where are you going? But you are not supposed to answer, and you're not supposed to look at her. Then you must press the button for the 1st floor. And one of 2 things might happen when you do this. It might actually take you down to the 1st floor, which is good. In that case, it means you're all done. You can exit the elevator without looking back. But it might take you to the 10th floor, and it's your choice if you want to exit or not. If you decide to stay on this 10th floor and exit the elevator, you have entered the other world. It's going to look identical to the real world, which makes it fool you. The only thing that's different is that all the lights will be off. Remember which elevator you go off of, because you have to use that exact one to get back to the real world. Now, a lot of people who have actually been to this other world say that electronic devices don't work there. So your phone won't work, your MP3 won't work, your iPad won't work, nothing's going to work that you have on you. And once you're done walking around in this other world, people say it's actually kind of difficult to get back to the normal world. You may become disoriented and forget which elevator in which you arrived. And some people have even said that the elevator may seem to get further and further away from you as you walk towards it. It also says if at any point during this ritual you faint or pass out or black out, you will wake up in your own home in your bed. But if you don't pass out and you can actually walk back to the first elevator that you came from, to get back to the real world, you must press the buttons in the same order you did in steps 2 through 8. So you should finish at the 1st floor. Before you exit the elevator, you have to check your surroundings very carefully to make sure you're walking back into the real world, because sometimes this other world will try and fool you. If anything seems off, even the smallest detail, do not exit the elevator. So if anything looks wrong, you have to repeat all of those steps over again until it looks like the real world again. And once you are confident you have returned to your own world, you may safely exit the elevator. Now, this game is so confusing. So if you're watching this right now and you're like, what did you just even explain to me, Jesse? I completely understand. There is just so many rules, so much instructions. It is so confusing. So Sweet Tooth is a scary game that people often play at sleepovers. It actually originated in Russia, where it's very popular with kids and teenagers. Now, this ritual basically involves summoning a gnome that will come and eat your chocolate, which definitely sounds extremely weird and may not sound scary to you at first, but I can assure you it's not your typical cute storybook gnome. It's actually something much, much darker. So let's get into how to play this game. So you need at least 2 people.
Beware the gnomes, everybody. Apparently gnomes are evil, apparently. I don't know. Yeah, right? Beware the gnomes. They will attack your ankles. These are pretty interesting, though, Dark, because a lot of people don't realize that these folklore go back centuries.
Ages. Yeah.
Hey. She's actually pretty good. I like her. I'll have to subscribe.
She's alright.
Yeah, I mean, like, I intend to start making full-length videos like this. Once I get better editing software and operating systems, get a better computer, really. I'll do edited uploads. where I can add in graphics and all that good stuff.
To play this game, but the more the better. The game must be played in complete darkness. It should only be done at night or after midnight or before dawn. And during this ritual, you have to stay extremely quiet. You shouldn't be talking louder than a whisper. And to play this game, you need the following items. We have a bar of chocolate, a mirror, a thread or a thin string, and a pair of scissors. So let's get right into the steps. Step 1, take the mirror and place it on the floor. Now you're supposed to put it directly under the light on your ceiling. The mirror should be facing up on the floor. Step 2, tie a long thread around the bar of chocolate and suspend it from the light on your ceiling. It should literally be hanging just above the mirror, but it should not be touching the mirror. Step 3, everyone sits in a circle around the mirror, and every single person in the room has to play the game. Someone can't like sit on the sidelines.
I feel like that's not fair, because if you tie a piece of rope around a piece of candy, I'm a goner. Because
Yeah,
I'm going to
really.
eat that candy. Like, that's a trap. It's very clearly a trap, but if you haunt me with candy, I'm going to eat it. So, anyway, it's, let me think. It is 2 hours in. All right, so tomorrow we will dedicate a stream to folklore and games you should not play.
Sounds good.
I intend to dive into some different folklore, like the origins of gnomes, the mythology behind them, mermaids or sirens, um, cryptids, things like that. One of these I need to dedicate to Wendigos and Skinwalkers and the Native American history behind them. But tomorrow should be fun. We will
Yeah, well,
dive deeper into the paranormal games.
sounds good.
One episode I think will cover aliens and the existence
I
of
want one
aliens.
on Bigfoot's just for my old man. He's
Ooh,
obsessed with.
Bigfoot's a good one.
He's obsessed with
We
Bigfoot.
could do that.
Well, I
Maybe
like to.
Sunday we can dive into the differences between Sasquatch and Bigfoot and the Yeti.
Yeah, that would be
And
interesting. We were talking about that one night.
yeah, there are differences.
Yeah,
They are not the same thing. Sasquatch and Bigfoot are not the same thing.
no.
Entirely different species.
And maybe show some
And
videos of it and
yeah,
suppose,
some footage. Yeah,
yeah.
we can do
Fake,
that. We can do that Sunday.
I call it fake footage.
All right, girl. Love you guys.
Love you guys too.
Bye.
Y'all have a good night. Bye.